call the monthly board meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion.
Ron makes a motion. I have a second.
Second it.
Quinn, second. All in favor, roll call vote, please. Or, I'm sorry, show of hands. Citizen statements.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had no one request participation as per Board Policy BDDH,
Written communications.
and we had no written communications either.
Thank you. Military update.
Good evening. I do have a few items of interest. Fort Leonard Wood will host an art show that will be open to youth ages kindergarten through 12, or grades kindergarten through 12s, plus adults to enter in all mediums. All artwork will be due by the 31st of January. All information is on our website at leonardwoodarmymwr.com. On February 4th, we hope to be able to host the art show in person. If not, it will be held virtually. We will also have a job fair the 26th of January at 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Bruce Clark Library. We're asking registration so that we can keep our numbers down for COVID mitigation measures, and we will have people available there to assist anybody looking for information or get themselves through the online hiring process. On behalf of Fort Leonard Wood, we want to thank each and every one of you for what you do each and every day in support of our service members and families. We hope that you all stay healthy. Go Tigers and Army strong. Pending any questions, that's all I have.
Any comments or questions? Thank you very much. District announcements, Dr. Henry.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I look around the room and I see the mighty WCC staff is here. Is it Brian Schaffner leading the way? No? Oh, we have some cookies for you, Mr. Schaffner, that you can take home. Okay. Tonight we'll recognize the Waynesville Career Center. Thank you for all you do for our high school students and adult students in our community, and I look forward to hearing more from each of you or about you in the Spotlight on Education in just a few minutes. Hundreds of our middle school students participated in Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service activities on Friday to make a difference in our community. I'd like to especially thank the AmeriCorps members, our middle school PI partners, the 701st Military Police Battalion, and our middle school staff for leading these service learning activities. Court warming is coming up. It will be held Friday, February the 4th at Waynesville High School between the JV and varsity boys basketball games against Glendale. Our Winter Tiger Festival of Nations will be held Thursday, February 10th from 5 to 6:15 p.m. The event is free and open to the public, and everyone should enter through the 9th grade center entrance. There'll be no school on Monday, February 21st for President's Day. And also just wanted to say I congratulate Mrs. Bales, Assistant Superintendent of Personnel, for being named superintendent, but she doesn't get to take over until July 1 of 2022. I'll still be here for a little while, so I wish you the best and a smooth transition. So thank you.
I have a motion to approve the agenda items A through K.
Motion.
Second. Former second. All in favor, show of hands. Motion carries. Student recognitions. All-State Band, Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is my honor to recognize James Knight from Waynesville High School. He was recently selected for the Missouri All-State Band, and he was selected as first chair for the tuba section, which is quite an honor. This is his third year in a row being selected for the All-State Band. He will rehearse with the other All-State Band members and then will perform on January 29th at the 2022 Missouri Music Educators Conference at Tantera. So James, come on up.
Yes.
Congratulations, what an honor. Transportation Employee of the Month, Dr. Cobb. I'm sorry.
No, it's probably gonna have to be Dr. Cobb, right?
Yeah, but I need to go back to spotlight on
Oh, I'm
education.
sorry.
Try it off there. Let's just test.
I was gonna say, we have an absence, so I wanted to make sure.
January spotlight on education, Dr. Pattison.
Well, good evening. I'm not Dr. Pattison, but it's my honor and privilege. Come on up, guys. Have two staff members we want to recognize tonight from the WCC, and we have so many great teachers and educators there, but we have two great ones here tonight, and so we'll start with Mr. Chase Dendecker. He's our classified employee for this month, and he's probably the world's greatest paraprofessional, as many of our staff members would call him. Chase is a huge asset to the WCC. His hands usually in everything that is planned. He does so much no matter what is needed, and always has a smile on his face. He fits right in with a sense of humor as well. I think as late as 3 o'clock this afternoon, he had Miss Koch thinking she was going to give a speech here tonight, and she believed him. So well done, Chase. But he does give a whole new meaning to the duties, to the the job description of the duties as assigned. It doesn't matter what we throw at him. He does it with ease. So, Chase, we appreciate what you do, sir, and congratulations. Next, we have Ms. Koch, who is our new agriculture instructor this year, and we're very proud of her. It was a good hire. She's off to a brilliant start. Emily demonstrates an energy and excitement for teaching and is amazing at instilling what she is passionate about to all of her students. She even went so far as to turn her entire shop into a petting zoo during one of our 8th grade recruiting endeavors. So she does a great job. She's building a great rapport with students, and no doubt that the program will continue to grow with her here. So Emily, congratulations and thank you.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to recognize the WCC Nursing Career Cluster Team of Audrey McDaniel, Elizabeth Buselli, Carrie Wilson, and Susan Williamson. These ladies work collaboratively to improve student performance in both the health science and practical nursing programs. While program objectives may vary, each member of this PLC team provides quality input each Wednesday. Additionally, this collaborative team shares and reviews effective teaching strategies, monthly employability scoring, and student performance data. Together, this group has found ways to bring their two programs together to allow students to demonstrate and share skills that they have learned. One neat thing from this group is the health science students have taught the practical nursing students some skills that they learned first, and then the practical nursing students have spent some time with health science teaching them skills. So it's the first time I've ever witnessed that in our nursing department, and so it is a privilege to recognize this career cluster team.
John Smith's too big over there.
Transportation Employee of the Month, Dr. Cobb.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. We'd like to recognize Michael Graves this evening. A few words from transportation. Mike's the type of employee we love to have in our department. He's willing to do whatever is asked of at any time, whether that's driving his own route, driving a different route, or cleaning out vehicles, or even help cleaning up the parking lot. He's always willing to help our team. We appreciate Mike's attitude towards the job and his coworkers. Our staff enjoy working with him because of his work ethic and his great personality. The kids on the bus truly enjoy Mike as our bus drivers. And we'd like to congratulate Mike Graves tonight for Transportation Employee of the Month.
Get over there.
Congratulations. Community recognition, Mrs. Bills.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my honor tonight to recognize the Pulaski County Public Library, specifically the Waynesville branch, and Emily Salama is here tonight to receive on their behalf if you want to come up here. The Waynesville branch supports our parent-teachers program. They provide reading to our playgroups and open their facilities to us each month, and we greatly appreciate this partnership. So thank you so much, Emily. We appreciate it. Congratulations.
Move discussion items. Parker Fine Arts, Dr. Cobb.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to give an update I said on Parker as we are getting very close to Parker. We're still looking at being done the very first part of March. I will say is these pictures were taken last Monday, and I hate to say this, but it's already changed from last Monday and now. A lot of this has been updated. But these first pictures here, the outside of the building, you've got the storefront that is being done, and the outside of the building, the foam board's been put up and getting ready for stucco to go on there. So they've already got the stucco on the back side of that building already installed from last Monday. As we get to the inside, that first picture is what is the entrance going into kind of the boardroom and that gymnasium area. As you kind of go through, you can see they've already gotten a lot of the sheetrock there. They've already gotten some of on the ceilings, and the grid started to put in. And then that second picture, you can see is that's from kind of the other side looking in. There's that door. If you're wondering what that door is right there is where the secretary's office is going to be. And I'll go back one more step on the first picture. It's not in this picture, but there is a cutout where there'll be sliding glass where you can go up to the front office. That has been cut and put in as well since I've taken the picture. Moving into the boardroom, you've got kind of the audio-visual where they'll have a lot of the audio equipment up there on that first picture. And then the second picture is kind of just standing back on the stage and looking forward so you can see kind of how big that area is. And they've already, up above, a lot of that sheetrock has already been put up there and put on and sanded down and getting close for painters. This is another picture, just kind of you come in the entrance, you can kind of see as you're looking up onto the stage where the board will sit, is again, a lot of that sheetrock has already been done on the ceilings and up around getting ready for that to be painted. And then this is just a kind of closer up picture of what the stage will look like. The first picture is just kind of staying off where there'll be a little bit of a ramp kind of sit over here that'll go up. You go up on the stage where you'll sit. And then that second picture is an entrance there where there'll be a bathroom on that back side. You kind of just see where all that's put up. They've got the sheetrock already done, the retaining walls kind of getting ready to go in as well. So a lot of it's already changed, but that kind of gives you an idea of how large that area is going to be. And then as we get to the end here, you've got the inside look of the bathrooms. Those are being sanded and getting close to painted and ready for tile, as well as that's the principal's office. So they've got the storefront put in that, ready for doors to be installed as well. And these last pictures are inside the classroom. So that entrance going to the classroom, the storefront glass there. And then the last picture there is kind of where they go into their restroom areas or the water fountain and sink right outside there. And that's going into those restrooms. Any questions that you have? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cobb. 2022 technology report, Mr. Harrison.
Thank you, Mr. President. You got the tag team duo of Mr. Henson and myself tonight. We will be speaking on a technology update. I'll be kind of covering the infrastructure side of things, and then Mr. Henson will be coming in and touching on the instructional technology side. So to kind of jump into our focus areas here, the first one kind of speak towards my area, which is the infrastructure side. So our job is to kind of make sure that the students have good quality working devices in their hands, and then that the environment is safe for them to work in. And Mr. Henson's focus area on his side is to promote the effective use of those technology devices within our one-to-one environment. So those are our two, whenever you kind of sum everything up, those are our two focus areas in both areas. Kind of jump in a little bit more of the detailed stuff on the infrastructural side of things. So hardware, we have 15,000 plus end user devices that we maintain from the network overall, partnering with K-12 ITC. Our data center as well that we also partner with K-12 ITC on. We maintain intercoms and clocks, phones, security cameras, door access control systems. And then on the application side, we kind of manage the email system, all the Google user suite that the students use, all the different applications for that. Our web content filter, Gaggle, our phone call manager system, student information system, which is currently Tyler, financial information systems, which is Tyler as well, Tyler Munis, and then the food services software as well. There's a picture here. This is our awesome team. We've got a great group of guys here that can handle pretty much anything. So they do an awesome job on a day-to-day basis. Completed projects since July 1st of this current school year. We've closed out around 2,650 support tickets. To this point, we deployed approximately 7,800 Chromebooks since we started the one-to-one program. And we've brought on a new intercom system, and then also we have brought on, Tyler and got it implemented as well. Upcoming projects, we're kind of in this year going to be in our first full year of the Chromebook replacement cycle, and that's going to be where we've got new Chromebooks coming in. We've got around 12 to 1,500 Chromebooks coming in per year, new, and then we'll phase those out in a 4-year phase-out cycle. And then also, what we're going to start this year is any seniors that will be going out, we're going to give the incentive as long as they meet 90% attendance throughout the second semester, that they get to just take the device with them and use it for college or whatever else whatever they pursue after their high school career. So I'm excited to get that going. We're going to be bringing on, thanks to E-rate funding that we'll be getting this year, we'll be bringing on all new teacher laptops across the board coming in the next school year. So that'll be good. We got a new security camera system coming in. We've also got, secure access district-wide with key fob entrance and things of that nature coming in across the district. Of course, some of our capital projects with Parker Fine Arts or whatever we decided, wherever the new Parker building is going to be, the Early Childhood Center. And then transportation phase 2, as well as the admin, storage, and the IT building. And then to kind of just some things on the horizon here, we're always on the lookout. We're always watching out for cybersecurity. The more that technology is used, the more people want to take advantage and hack, and use that for dangerous things. So we are always, trying to look out to what's coming down the pike on, the threats and things of that nature, and trying to maintain a safe environment for our students to work in. And then some of the trends kind of coming up here. Virtual reality and artificial intelligence as far as individualized student learning. So kind of expound upon that just a little bit. So in the virtual reality world, if you can imagine, goggles and being able to go in and explore the Milky Way or the anatomy of the human heart, there's some really cool potential things that are coming up. So that's one of the things that you'll see in education kind of coming more, down the pike in the future is VR. And then also from an AI standpoint, being able to take the data as far as attendance and grades and discipline and all of that, put it together, and then the computer starts looking for patterns of things and things that we can kind of intervene in and maybe be able to help, before a student even gets to the point of having an issue with some certain subject, of being able to identify that and try to get them help, way sooner than we would have been earlier on. So that's kind of what that speaks towards. So those are just a couple of the things that, are kind of on the horizon from a technology standpoint in education. So that's all I have. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Henson. Is there any questions for me specifically?
Mr. Harrison, the 2,600 support tickets, does that include any of the ones that the students in the tech class work on the Chromebooks, or is this separate?
Yeah, that would include those as
Included.
well. Yeah, we're on one big support system, so that's another part of what they get to do is kind of experience a real life support system that they close out tickets and things of that nature too. So
I have a student in that class, and I absolutely love it for him, and I love
Yeah.
our district does that.
it's
because
a win-win for everyone because it
an actual
helps
Dell
us and helps them
certification.
too. So yeah.
Yep. Excellent, thank you.
Any other questions?
All right, thank you. I'm going to speak to the instructional side of technology just a bit. So one of the things I'm most proud of when I started as director is we implemented the one-to-one program. And one thing that we have with our one-to-one program, we do have a website where we maintain for Project Edge, a webpage which provides relevant information, an informational video, and also with FAQs there for any parents who may have questions. But the most proudest thing I'm most proud of is that all students have a device to use. And when we first started thinking about one-to-one, it was going to be phased out to where we would go a grade level or 2 grade levels every year or so. So really, up to this point, it's probably the time frame where we would have had all kids on a one-to-one status. But because of Prop 1 5 years ago, when our voters went and they voted for Prop 1 and they passed it, we said that money would be spent towards security and technology. And we've held to that. We have spent our money towards security and technology, and because of that, we were able to accelerate every student getting a one-to-one device earlier, which we're thankful of. So the other thing with the one-to-one program, Project Edge, is we had to offer some way to help protect devices. So we do offer the one-to-one risk solutions, the optional insurance, if parents choose to enroll in that. Right now we have around 978 that have paid for that waiver protection. So collaboration and blended learning totals for first semester. We have 7 instructional techs in the district. Those instructional techs are housed at the buildings that are in that chart. You'll see the Fort Leonard Wood Schools at the top. It has 1 instructional tech that goes from Thayer, Partridge, and Wood. He's on a schedule. But then you'll see that 6th grade center, Freedom, East, middle school, high school, and WCC each have a designated tech that is there full time. In the past, we used to have designated labs where they would come in and collaborate with the tech and the teacher and the students. But now that we're one-to-one, those designated labs are no longer here. So the teachers, our techs, actually go in the classroom and work with our teachers, whether it be with a standard they may need help with, whether it may be a specific program or application they need help with, they go in and support them. Another area they do is the techs go out and they do blended learning observations. So blended learning is taking that traditional teaching that we're used to, taking that technology we have and intertwining them, bringing them together. Not just straight direct instruction, but how can we bring technology in with that direct instruction as well, a hybrid of that. So they do go out when they can and do blended learning observations. Typing practice, we use Typing Club in grades K through 8 for typing practice, and we try to set a goal with our students at 5 words per minute times the grade level. So if you're a first grader, we're hoping at the end of the year, 5 times 1, they'd be able to type 5 words per minute. 5th grader, since they're 5th grade, times 5 words per minute, 25 words per minute. So you can see there are first semester words per minute, and you can see that many of them are getting close. The one that I forgot to ask about, that kindergarten at 8 words per minute, that one I'm going to question a little bit. I'm going to have to go back and ask them where that came from, because most of them are still trying to learn their letters. So that one I am going to have to go back. I didn't want them to look at that and think, wow. And then on the other side there, keyboard typing integration into assignments and assessments. That is one of our action steps in our CSEP. And at the elementary level, a lot of that is done through Google Classroom. And of course, our secondary level, they get that through Canvas and Master Connect. And the last bullet there I put into reading, which is our new reading program, and into literature. They do get a lot of that typing integration, whether it be within their assignments or their assessments that teachers push out to them, but I probably should have added as well. It's just not into reading or into literature. We do have other online textbook applications that allow for that as well. And the last thing I have here is basically on student learning with technology. And we hear it a lot that it does allow for student engagement, and it does if it's done right. But also it allows for creativity, allows our students to be problem solvers, and also allows for teamwork. And the picture in the middle there, I just like to point it out. You'll see that there's a group of young men there. I think it's in the East after school program. They're playing chess. It's a chess club they want to start. But what's really neat about that picture is you'll see that board is a homemade board, okay? But those chess pieces are also homemade. Those students use a coding program called Tinkercad, and they designed their own little chess pieces, and they printed them out on a 3D printer, and that's how they made the chess boards and chess pieces for their chess club, which I thought was pretty cool. So that's all, Mr. Harrison, I have. If you have any questions, I'm sure Mr. Harrison will be glad to answer them.
I've got one, Mr. Henson. You had mentioned that 978 students had purchased the insurance. So what's the impact on the district for devices that get damaged where there's no insurance? And
So Mr. Harrison, I may need him with this just because we do have several out there that where maybe the district does pick up the cost, and we do some of the lifting there when it comes to paying for those if they don't have it, or we may put those claims out there, and those claims may never come back to us to where the district is footing the bill for that. As far as the exact amount or dollar amount, I don't know that information.
thank you.
Mr. Henson?
Yes.
And I'm sure you can probably answer this question before, but are the Chromebooks monitored during the weekend?
Chromebooks, yeah, the Chromebooks are connected to our, and Mr. Harrison here, if I speak incorrectly here, they are connected to our servers, so they are being monitored. We also have something called Go Guardian, to where also if teachers need to monitor as kids are working on that, they can, but they are being filtered. But as far as on the weekends being totally monitored, if they're not being a lesson going on or a teacher working directly with the kid, they're probably not being monitored, but they are connected to where they are being filtered and managed by the district.
So are you able to see any of the content on the weekday that is happening on the weekend?
Mr. Harrison, help me
Yeah,
with
we
that.
have
That's
we have a
your department.
content filter called iBoss, and it monitors every bit of activity, every transaction that they do on the computer, whether they're, at their home Wi-Fi, school Wi-Fi, or they could even be at Disneyland using Wi-Fi in a hotel room, and it monitors all the traffic is forced through there. And so we have certain keywords and different types of things that we monitor for, and if those things pop up, then we have the ability to drill down and figure out who did it, what time, and be able to address those things as well. So,
Excellent. Thank you.
Any other questions?
And for those parents that have questions about any of the technology, they would reach out to your office?
Yes, they can reach out to me, most definitely.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you both.
Thank you, guys.
Job descriptions, Mrs. Bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Administration is requesting first reading on Root Ed Advisor. And just for the public, a Root Ed Advisor is a position that the district was awarded some grant money towards, and it will focus on career exploration and post-secondary attainment with high school students. We will bring this request back for approval at our regular Board of Education meeting in February.
MSBA policy and procedure update, Dr. Henry.
Thank you, Mr. President. You have before you for first reading some revised policies through MSBA that align with legislation enacted in the previous legislative session. They have to do with ballot placement and school board elections specifically. If you only have the same number of individuals running as you have seats open, and a little caveat in there about if you're running a bond or a levy increase and placing names on there. So went through tabs and we've had no questions up to this point, but it'll be there for your first read.
Thank you. We'll move into action items. Budget revision, Mr. Harrison.
thank you, Mr. President. Well, it's that time of year when we come back with our January budget revision. So basically what we do is kind of go in and on the payroll side, make everything actual expenses versus what was projected back in June whenever I brought this budget to you last. And so kind of go through and touch on some of the high points and just go through our January budget revision. So first of all, we're kind of looking at our goals here. So our ongoing budgetary goals: support the district vision and mission, maintain competitive salary schedules, maintain a quality employee benefit package, plan for the future with consideration of student needs and student population, and address current facility needs. Those are our ongoing budgetary goals. And then, throughout the COVID crisis, whenever that hit, we kind of, the board kind of got together as a team, decided, during this COVID crisis, while we're going through this, we also want to focus on kind of building a reserve balance to be able to weather the storm, and then also make sure that we take care of our people throughout. So This is how the snapshot of how FY21 ended. If you recall, a couple months ago, Ms. Baker from KPN came in for the audit, and once she comes in, she works with us to kind of finalize the FY21 and do all of our transfers and all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to kind of show you before going into the FY22 revision, kind of how FY21 ended here. So starting, back at the beginning, we started off with around $19.3 million in operations, and we ended with about 20.9. So that one thing I wanted to point out is I know we discussed raising that reserve balance up to 30% last year. So that $20.9 million there represents the 30% reserve that we began FY22 with. And then just another highlight there. So on the capital side, we started with about 36.1 million and ended with about 33.2. So overall, we started with, whenever you take operations and capital together, we started the last FY21 with approximately 55.4 million and ended with approximately 54.2. So jumping into FY22 here, so our local revenues, the previous years there are actuals, and then this year is our projected, how we anticipate on ending as of June 30th of this year. So you can see our local revenues are up there, and there's really a couple things behind that, the reasons why. Number one is our assessed valuation in Pulaski County has skyrocketed. I'm sure everyone has seen that on, your tax bill coming out. Through all the big real estate boom and everything that we had, that just caused the assessed valuation in Pulaski County to go up at astronomical rates, and so that generates a little bit of additional revenue. I think we're probably going to see somewhere around $600,000 to $900,000 of additional revenue because of that. And then another big chunk was we've gotten a lot of E-rate funding over the last year through the ESSER money that came out as part of that. They offer money out for schools to apply for, student and teacher devices. So we're going to get right about $1 million this year for E-rate funding to pay for those devices. So, and that E-rate money gets funded through our local stream of revenue. So that's kind of the explanation as to why that has kind of ticked up there for this year. State revenues, we anticipate for now to stay fairly flat. You can see there, we for the basic formula last year, we ended up about 29.7 million. This year we're anticipating to be right around 29.4. So state revenues are fairly flat currently. Federal revenues, this is mainly our impact aid stream of revenue. You'll notice there last year we ended with 11.6 million. That we had about a $5 million payment come in the first couple weeks of July. So they sometimes impact aid department, they have a lot of applications to go through, and they have to kind of wait to the end of the year to see who all they have to pay out before they can kind of finalize all the final payments to everyone. And so sometimes that slips into the next year. So I anticipate, at the end of this year, that 16.1 million, by the time they catch up, and that additional payment that we got from last year that we revenued into this year, whenever I come back to you to show you how this all ends, I'm anticipating that $16 million to be higher than that. So, and we always pretty conservatively budget our impact aid dollars as well. So. Before I get in expenditures here, kind of a breakdown of our operating expenditures. Our operating expenditures are approximately made up of around anywhere between 77 and 80% of our total expenditures on any given basis. Right now, salary is about 60% and benefits is about 17%. So the two combined equates to about 77% of our total operating expenditures. And then 14% of that being purchase services, and then about 9% of that being supplies. Kind of a more detailed drill down on our employee salary benefits. This chart here kind of represents the typical raise that we give from year to year. You can see it kind of trend up there, and that's due to the raises that we give each year. So we're anticipating by the end of this school year to spend approximately $44.3 million on salaries and then approximately 12.8 on benefits. Purchase services, you can see this trending up, and you'll see this pretty much in any school district across the state of Missouri. You know, as school districts start to see the benefit of in partnering with companies like OPA and, you know, food services, technology companies like K-12 ITC, there's a trend across, you know, the education industry in general where people are realizing those, you know, the advantages of those partnerships and taking advantage of that. So that just kind of basically takes the money from one place and you're just kind of paying, you know, through a purchase order someone else to do it. So as we continue to bring on more of those types of companies, that number trends up there. Food service expenditures, that's down a little bit this year over last year. If you look, you know, 1920 was a pretty big jump. 2021 was an even bigger jump. And then this year we're projecting to be back down to where, you know, kind of more normal numbers. And the reason for that really is like 1920, towards the end of that school year, we started feeding all these people, all expenses involved with that, where transportation was taking all these meals out to everyone. That was fairly costly, so that caused the 1920 number to go up a little bit. And then last year we had some of that as well. And then we were also kind of preparing to feed in the, you know, outside of the cafeteria environment and classrooms and everywhere else. So we had some expenditures involved with, you know, warmers and a lot of things like that caused it to go up last year as well. This year we pretty much got all of those things in place, and, you know, food costs are higher a little bit. And so we do anticipate that to be higher than a normal year would, but kind of back to where, you know, into a little bit normal range there than as to what we've been used to seeing in previous years. Transportation expenditures, that number there, I know it looks like a big spike, and that is strictly due to the construction project that we have going on. Right now, we're getting ready to add on to the transportation project. And then those expenditures are funneled through, you know, the same place where all this is tracked. So, you know, in all reality, our transportation expenditures are pretty flat compared to previous years, but because of that construction project, it just kind of, you know, shows that it spiked up there a little bit. And that project is anticipated to be done going into next school year, I believe around the November timeframe. Is that correct, Mr. Cobb? Capital project expenditures, this is always a moving target from year to year, depending on how many projects we have going on. We have several good-sized projects going on this year. So anticipated for this school year, we're looking at spending approximately $16.8 million in total on capital projects. And then total district expenditures, you know, they're up pretty high this year. A lot of that has to do with our capital projects, but also, you know, we've been buying a lot of things we have expenditures for that we've also been getting reimbursed for on the flip side of that. So while it does look like we're spending more money, we did have some ESSER funds and a lot of those types of things come in to compensate that on the back side of things. So this is kind of the summary of FY22. So, you know, as I mentioned, the beginning balance of this one was the ending balance of the previous summary that I showed you. So going into this year, we're starting the year with that 30% reserve balance for operations. And then, you know, we're anticipated right now to end around the 21.9 million mark. And I did a quick calculation, you know, earlier this week to see. So that if we ended up like that, that's around a 31.9% reserve balance. So we had the latitude to kind of move that around as we see fit going into next year. So those will be conversations that I'll be having with you guys going into, you know, we're setting the budget for next year is at what level do we want to set that, you know, that next reserve balance. So $21.9 million in totals we're expected to end out in operations. Capital projects, we started the year with approximately $33.2 million in there, looking to end around 23.6. But as I mentioned on the impact aid side, that's likely to be higher there where we end up because that impact aid money is revenued into the capital projects, the capital fund there. So I would anticipate that to be significantly higher depending on how the impact aid money comes out this year. So, and then in total, our balance we started off the year with approximately 54, projecting to end with about $45 million. Then just some highlights to kind of take it all and put it in a nutshell and kind of somewhat in layman's terms. You know, we're still, I put this graphic up here because we're still kind of in this inflated mode where we're still kind of riding on a lot of the money that we receive through the ESSER funds and everything else. So, I'm not really concerned much from a financial standpoint for this year and really even next year. We're kind of in cruise control mode right now. As administration and as a board, we've done some wise things financially, taking our ESSER funds and kind of, rolling that out into 3 years, which would be this year, next year, and the following year. So that'll kind of help us to kind of ride through this. But, especially from a state revenue standpoint, going into, next year and the year following, there's a good chance that we could see that start to decline, and we get to the point where that's declining and we have no more of the stimulus money coming in. That's when we have to start to kind of be cautious and start to take a really close look at things with our expenditures and everything. So that's one word of caution there for future years. Approximately $1 million in E-rate funding we received this year. So we've been reimbursed for Chromebooks that we bought last year, Chromebooks that we're getting ready to buy for the upcoming year, as well as teacher laptops across the board. So approximately $1 million that we'll receive for that. And then our ESSER 3 allocation, to kind of expound more upon that, that was $5.8 million, and that was the one where 20% had to be used to bridge a learning gap. So that 20% represents that $1.1 million there. And we have identified areas such as summer school last year, and then also SOS throughout this year as opportunities to spend that money on to kind of help bridge that learning gap. We've kind of beefed up in some of those areas to kind of help the students that need help because of lack of educational time during COVID. So, and then the remaining funds after we've bridged the learning gap, the 20% there, they'll be drawn down in 3 installments, FY 22, 23, and 24. So that's about $1.5 million out of each of those years that will be drawn down in ESSER funds. Any questions on any of that?
So where do you actually place the reserve funds? Do you place it in Fund 1, Fund 2,
Yeah.
or Fund 1?
Yeah, operating is actually, 2 funds, but just to keep it clean, most schools take it all, and you have your expenditures in the teachers fund there, but at the end of the year, you take it all and transfer it over into one fund there. But it all makes up what we call operations, and that reserve balance it's your expenditures of 1 year versus what your balance is, so going into the next year. So it basically says, how long can I make it into the next year operationally with the funds that we have left over from the previous year?
Any more comments or questions? I have a motion to approve the budget revision.
Make that motion.
Quinn makes a motion. I have a second.
Second.
Ralph makes a second. All in favor, show of hands. Motion carries. Annual school board election ballot. Dr. Henry.
Thank you, Mr. President. The final date to file for Board of Education candidacy was Tuesday, December 28th, 2021 at 5 p.m. The proposed ballot format of board candidates for the April 5th, 2022 election will be submitted to the Pulaski County Clerk prior to the deadline of January 25th, 2022. After pending approval, of course, of the board, the official ballot for the said election will include for 2 seats, Aaron Pondram, David Griffin, Charles Quinn, and Melissa James.
Do I have a motion to approve the annual school board election ballot?
So moved.
Form makes a motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Deering, second. All in favor, show of hands. No motion carries. Summer school proposal. Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. The 2022 summer school program will be conducted from June 1st through June 29th. Summer school locations will be determined based on enrollment, and some schools may be consolidated into one site. Breakfast and lunch will be served at each location, and we plan on offering a limited number of virtual courses for the high school level in addition to their seated courses. Administration requests approval of the 2022 summer school proposal as presented.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Ralph, second. All in favor, show of hands. No motion carries. Curriculum documents. Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Attached, you will find updated curriculum documents for your review. These documents were presented at the regular board meeting in December, and no questions were received. Administration requests approval of the elementary encore curriculum as presented.
Do I have a motion?
I would make that motion.
Ralph makes a motion. Do I have a second? Dr. Fulmer, second. All in favor, show of hands. 7-0, motion carries. WCC course additions and updates, 2022-23. Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Attached are the recommended changes to the WCC course description book submitted by Dr. Pattison, the Waynesville Career Center Director. If approved, these changes will become effective with the 2022-2023 school year and utilized in the upcoming scheduling process. We are requesting to waive first reading, and we request approval as presented.
Any comments, questions?
Motion.
Make a motion. Second. 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 All in favor, show of hands. 7-0, motion carries. Date change for June board meeting. Dr. Henry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a note here, as we know I believe it was last summer, right, as we were in summer school, we had the approval for the observance of Juneteenth, which we're very excited about. We initially put down June the 17th to do that on a Friday. However, in consulting with other organizations in the community, it is an observed and federal holiday, and that would be celebrated on the 20th. So our board meeting was scheduled to be on June the 20th. We're recommending that we move that to Monday, June 13th, and we do our observation of Juneteenth on June 20th with all other entities in town.
Do I have a motion? Dr. Paul makes a motion. Mr. Quinn, second. All in favor, show of hands. 7-0, motion carries. Freedom FEMA Shelter Construction Manager, Dr. Cobb.
Skipped again.
Huh?
Skipped again, I think.
What? No, we got the date change.
Then we have to revise the calendar as well.
Oh, sorry. I just like you.
Always excited to talk to Dr.
I mean,
Cobb.
it's electric. All right, revised 2021-22 school calendar for the holiday. Ms. Bells.
Thank you, Mr. President. Administration requests approval of the revised 2021-2022 school calendar with the first reading waived for the reasons that Dr. Henry mentioned previously.
Do I have a motion?
Make that
Ponder
motion.
motion, have a second?
Second.
Ralph, second. All in favor, show of hands. Motion carries. I want to skip you now. Freedom FEMA Shelter, Dr. Cobb.
Thank you, Mr. President. Administration seeks approval to enter a contract negotiation with Naval Construction on the Freedom FEMA Shelter.
Any comments or questions? Do I have a motion? Ponder motion, have a second? Dr. Fulmer, second. All in favor, show of hands. 7-0, motion carries. And cosmetology attendance policy, Mrs. Bells.
Thank you. Administration is requesting approval of the revised cosmetology attendance policy with first reading waived. This is due to recommendations from a third-party financial advisor that would put us more in line with the requirements and is also more student-friendly.
No more comments or questions? Do I have a motion? Dr. Fulmer makes a motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Ralph, second. All in favor, show of hands. 7-0, motion carries. We've already been to the closed session, so with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion, Mr. President.
Mr. Quinn makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ralph, second. All in favor, show of hands. We are adjourned.